think we're live. There we go. Welcome everybody to the Unready room. Boy, whoever gave us that name originally, you got us pegged. You got it. I'm Dan Gunther. With me, of course, as always, Brandi Jackola. Brandi, welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, so here it is. I guess we're gonna talk about the final 2 episodes of season 2 of Star Trek Prodigy. I'm not saying the final 2 episodes of Star Trek Prodigy. There's still a chance. There's still a chance. So yeah, the final 2 episodes of season 2 of Star Trek Prodigy, Ouroboros parts 1 and 2. And you better believe over the course of the last week, I've looked up various pronunciations of Ouroboros, and I'm going with Ouroboros because it's the easiest one to say, but there's like 15 different pronunciations that seem to be okay. So if you're saying it differently, that's fine. Go for it.
Yeah, it's only about the accent, where you put the accent, because a lot of people say Ouroboros, but
Ouroboros,
so
Ouroboros, I've heard. Yeah.
yeah, I guess it just depends on what part of the world you're in as to how you're gonna pronounce it.
I literally picked Ouroboros because it's the easiest for my mouth to make those sounds.
Hey, whatever works for you, it's all good.
Yeah. Yeah, Ouroboros. Sure. That works. So yeah, part 1. We're going to be talking about both parts today, of course, episodes 19 and 20 of season 2 of Star Trek Prodigy. Yeah, let's jump right in with part 1. Actually, before we do that though, Tristan, thank you so much for continuing the coupon gym. We're having a great laugh over here about this. It's great.
I went into my silent laugh where I just couldn't get enough air to make any sound. I was laughing so hard. So thank you for that.
Yeah, so good. So good. Thank you so much.
Yes. I can't believe that you can keep doing this. You're just amazing.
It's awesome. We love it for sure.
Yes.
So yeah, Ouroboros Part 1, written by Kevin and Dan Hageman and Aaron J. Waltke, and directed by Sean Bishop. So the heavy hitter writers for this one, the show creators, and of course Aaron J. Waltke, who there's a man whose knowledge of Star Trek lore astounds me every time, and it's amazing, and I love it.
Yeah, he's amazing for sure.
Definitely. We start with where we left off last episode, this uprising on Solum, and you love to see it. It's just, yeah, Essentia is not having a good day.
This is Essensia's, I would hesitate, but I'm not going to hesitate. It's Essensia's worst day. It really is.
Well, it's definitely gonna, yeah, it's gonna get there for sure.
Mm-hmm.
She still is in control of some stuff right now. For example, all of these rifts that she's going to open to send the ships to attack the Federation.
Moron.
And yeah, so she's going to open all the rifts, even though her like advisor dude is like, it's going to destroy Solum. You're going to wreck Solum if you do this. And she's like, I don't care. The Federation is going to burn, and if the people are going to rise up against me, well, they can join them. And she's gone. She is so far gone at this point.
Yeah, and that guy, I mean, did he not remind you of someone?
Lobot.
Lobot.
Okay.
He had that thing around his head.
I forgot about that. Yeah. It's a little bit more verbal, but
yeah, a lot more verbal. Let's be fair. Well, I mean, in the books, if I remember correctly, Lobot was verbal, but I could be wrong. It's been a really long time since I've read it.
There's a comic series from Marvel that takes place between Empire and Jedi, and there's a lot to do with Lando and Lobot in there. And I guess since it's the Star Wars universe, all of that is canon. So there's some interesting stuff about Lobot in there and why he is the way he is and what happened and stuff. So it's interesting.
Yep.
But anyway.
Bring in the tangents. That's what I do best.
Yeah, well, this isn't. I guess I should digress. This is not my Star Wars comics podcast that doesn't exist. So that would be cool though. But anyway, so yeah, things look bad. All these rifts are opening. All the ships are going to attack. But Wesley is like, yes. And he was hoping for this. He was waiting for this to happen because this is how they're going to open this wormhole to send the protostar back. This is all part of the plan. So it looks bad, but Wesley's still, he's kind of got things back on track. So yeah.
Yeah. And meanwhile, I'm thinking, how is this going to help? It's destroying the fabric of multiple timelines at this point. So I'll just be patient and see what he's gonna do.
Yeah, well, a little bit of a spoiler. The technobabble later is impressive.
Yes, it is.
And well, we'll get there, but yeah,
Yeah.
anyway. So basically Chakotay is going to lead the Protostar crew, as I'm calling them, back to the Protostar during all of this. They kind of have a bunch of things they have to do. They have to figure out how to open this wormhole, what they have to do that. So the brain trust is going to work on that. We have Dal and Gwyn are going to lead a team back to Solum, along with Jankum, to enter the data once they have it into this spire that is creating the wormhole. I love, by the way, how Jankum sometimes becomes a bit of a voice for the audience. It's like, once we have this data, we have to enter it directly into the console at the top of this spire. Well, that's just inconvenient, he says. Yeah, it certainly is.
Yeah, well, it makes sense if you don't want someone to be able to mess up your plans, you make it very difficult to access their computer systems.
Mhm. Mhm. But I like that. Like it's the action movie. Oh, the thing has to be done at the top of the satellite dish or whatever.
Mhm.
And I just love that there's a character who's like, well, that's inconvenient, boy.
Yeah, that I appreciated that. It also gave me, especially, um, when Dal has to go even further to the top, it gave me flashbacks of playing, when they did a really nice version of oh my gosh, Tomb Raider, that's the word.
Hmm.
And, there's this part where you have to go climb this tower, which you have to climb to this very top of things so you can get a radio signal, and the rungs get smaller and more broken off as you get to the top, and I know it's a video game, and I'm like, "I do not like this. I
Yeah.
do not like this. I do not want this. Why are you making me do this?"
So yeah. So that's what they're going to be tasked with. That's going to be fun. Like I said, Gwyn and Dal are kind of leading this team, and Dal, before he leaves though, switches out his comm badge for the old Protostar one from season 1, which was a nice touch and has some interesting implications later that we'll talk about.
Doesn't it,
Um
though?
yeah. I also love when they're beaming down and Rock is beaming them down and she says, "Love you." Gwen says, "We love you too, Rock." That's really sweet.
Yep,
No
she's the best.
hesitation, no surprise on Gwen's face. She's just, "We love you too." I love that.
It warmed my heart.
Absolutely. Um, so Janeway takes Voyager and starts attacking the ships as they're entering, just firing off quantum torpedoes and doing a lot of damage. But unfortunately, these torpedoes are limited. They don't have enough. So they're going to call her bluff, basically, because she's going to run out of torpedoes.
Yeah. Well, and her saying, "I could do this all day," I'm like, actually, no, you can't."
That was the bluff. Yeah, I
Yeah,
like that.
could do this all day. I'm like, what are you, Captain America now?"
There you go.
Actually, yeah, yeah, it works for me.
I was kind of waiting for her to break out into the musical.
Yep.
I can do this all day. Anyway.
Thank you.
There's a reference for anybody watch the Hawkeye Marvel TV series? That was great. Anyway.
That was one of my favorite things was Captain America musical.
It was so good.
Oh my
Oh,
god. Such good times, good times.
yeah. So, like I mentioned, the Brain Trust are trying to figure out the wormhole. So we've got Wesley, Rock, Zero, and Magel. They're all trying to figure out how this wormhole gets created, but there are too many variables. Um, Eventually, and I've watched this over a few times, and like I don't really get it, but I buy that the characters get it, so it kind of works. Like I'm gonna be honest, they gloss over the technobabble a little bit. They do something that takes all of the energy of all the wormholes and somehow they all converge to this one wormhole. Zero says a bunch of like analogies. Everybody goes, yeah, that makes sense. Like the eye of a needle, the needle in the haystack. You're like, yay, yes, that makes sense. And
Sure.
okay, I don't
Yeah.
get it, but they do, so I buy
It's
it.
future science, it's fine.
Yeah. Um, Meanwhile, on the Protostar, hologram Janeway is being really snarky at Chakotay. And we eventually find out it's because she's upset that they have to find the protostar exactly as it was, which means that all of her memories are going to have to be erased of everything she's gone through with meeting them and all of this. And she's upset that basically she won't survive that. Like the her that is her will not continue after this. So understandably upset about that.
Yeah, got up on the wrong side of the hollow emitter, and, it was so funny. It's like it was like a married couple fighting, it was
Totally.
hilarious.
I love Chakotay's like, what is with you?
Yeah, that's the good thing to see, that's the thing is people don't communicate properly in our time. They will hold
Mhm.
things back. They will expect the other person to just notice that they're angry and ask what's wrong, and the other person will just be like, "I had no idea you were angry," and just talk to each other, and that's what they actually do. They
Yeah.
actually talk to each other. This is how all relationships should be, whether they're romantic or friendly. That's how it should always be. Just talk, just speak your truth.
No. Um, Back to them trying to figure out the wormhole thing. One thing I forgot to mention is the one part of this that I kind of did like was they were focusing so hard on trying to figure out exactly when the protostar showed up on Tars Lamora, and the revelation that like maybe originally it never did go back the way that they thought it did, that they were the ones that sent it back in the first place. So as long as they get it somewhat right, they're the ones that did it. So that's when it shows up there. And this idea that the small changes don't really matter, the big picture is what matters. Um, which I think like maybe on a galactic scale, I guess kind of makes sense. It kind of falls down when you start really thinking about a lot of this stuff. But I like for this show how they're, it's like we just have to, it's like the fixed moments in time. You've got to hit those and then everything will kind of sort itself out. I kind of like that. It narrows the problem a little bit and makes it a little bit more manageable.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah.
Yeah, it was what and the funny thing is that, yeah, it didn't matter what time the the protostar showed up on Tars Lamora. It just had to be by X date. They knew
Mhm.
that date. And so anything prior to that didn't really matter.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
just as long as it was
exactly.
there when Dal and Rock find it.
Mhm. Which makes sense, and I like that. It kind of gives them a little bit more focus as to what the problem is that they have to solve. So meanwhile, back on the planet, as you can tell, there's a lot going on in this episode. We're kind of rocking through it here. Um, this confrontation between Gwyn and Essentia as they're trying to get to the console and stuff. Gwyn confronts her while Dal and Jankum are trying to get to the top of the spire or to where they need to be. Um, and I love these two together. Like first of all, Essentia is an incredible villain. She's just so good at being so evil. And Gwyn has really turned into like one of my favorite Star Trek characters. I really love this character.
I do too. She's just thinking back to what she was like in the first episode of the series and
Hmm.
how far she's come, and yet she's never lost her empathy,
Yeah.
which is, she could have easily been broken by what her father did,
Hmm.
but and she probably was a little broken, but she didn't let it define her,
Yeah.
and it's just she's fantastic.
Yeah. Absolutely. So Jankum manages to activate the spire to create the wormhole, but this connection severs, of course, and Dal has to climb up to fix it. And I love their little back and forth with Jankum saying something. And I didn't write it down, but it's something like that temporal energy will scatter your molecules across the centuries or something. He's like, I'm going to pretend you didn't just say that. And Jankum says, why not? It's true. Not helping, Jacob. Not
Yeah,
helping.
no, no, a little too truthful at this time. We
Yeah.
need empty platitudes right now.
Yeah. It's definitely on my mind though, as we see Dal walking towards the connector once he gets up there, and he keeps getting like zapped by these little energy discharges and letting out like a little yelp. And I'm like, oh no.
I know, I know. And the thing is that he didn't second guess at all. He's just like, this
Mhm.
needs to be done. I'm gonna go do it.
Yeah. As Chakotay would say, he was he found a place he needed to be and was
Yeah,
there. I think he said it more eloquently than that, but something like that.
yeah. He found where he was needed. So
Yeah, that makes more sense.
yeah.
Perfect. Um, so meanwhile, in all of this, we also have Murph versus Dreadnought, which is such a fun pairing here. Um, Murph saves Dal, like Dreadnought's lining up this shot, and Murph saves him at the last second. Dal manages to connect this thing, but he falls. Murph saves his life again. He's just the best security officer.
He really, really is. He took down a freaking dreadnought. I mean,
Hmm.
come on.
Yeah, that was pretty awesome. I love Murph in this. He's great.
He is.
Uh, so meanwhile, back down lower, Essentia is trying to kill Gwyn. She's kind of got the upper hand. She's got the heirloom, um, and Gwyn's just barely hanging on. And then Iltheron and a bunch of the other Vaunakat, including like the ruling council, like all the people are kind of closing in, and they give her their strength basically, and she's able to. She gets all glowy eyed and powerful and throws her off, and yeah, it was really good. That was really cool. I kept when I first watched this the first time, I'm like, why are you all just standing around? Run over and help her. And I'm like, oh, okay, they are helping her.
Yeah. That's the point where I started to cry.
Hmm.
So,
I believe that.
yeah.
Nah. Oh, and then when Jankum is talking about the energy creating the wormhole, and she's like, "Wow, ain't she a sight?" And we see Dal looking at Gwyn. It's like, "Yeah, yeah, aw."
So cute. Oh.
Yeah, that was really good. Um, so yeah, that's basically so Essentia is defeated. She's trying to use her mental power to like overcome this, and it looked painful. Something fried in her head
Mhm.
and she drops. And I admit not knowing till I watched the next episode. Like I was like, did she just die? Um we see her alive in the next episode though, as they kind of haul her away. But yeah, in this moment I was like, that seemed really dark. Like, oof, what happened there?
Yeah. It was like she'd been sucked dry
Yeah.
of of any ability whatsoever, whatever this ability the Valnacott have, which isn't really clearly defined at any point.
Mhm.
But, yeah, it basically is like they ripped out her her plug, and she's dark, and she's never gonna be light again.
Yeah.
It was kinda
Yeah.
creepy, like, her eyes were so weird.
Yeah, and like the kind of pattern on the forehead that glows, it kind of turned like dark, like black almost. It
Mhm.
was
Like it was
not good.
burned out.
Yeah, that's kind of like the impression I had. It was like there's a short and a snap, and it was like I thought, like I said, I thought she had died, and it's like, oh my god. Um, yeah, it was brutal for sure. So yeah, they've opened the wormhole now. Everything should be good. All the rifts are closed. They've centered it on this one wormhole that they're going to use to take the protostar back. Let's send that protostar of yours back when it belongs, is the line. Um, but the loom, the loom are attacking en masse through the wormhole. So that's where the this episode ends, and that's what we're left for the final episode. Ooh.
Yeah, that's which is where my name comes from, dinner bell for the loom. It's like they've
Mhm.
just rang the dinner bell for the loom. And, yeah, that's the thing, the loom were early, they weren't supposed to get there that quickly, and, well, I kind of would have anticipated that considering how quickly they got everywhere else.
Yeah.
So, seeing that as a surprise, I'm just kinda like, "Oh, yeah, well, Wesley's not at his," he's not 100% right now.
No.
So,
It's
I'll forgive
terrifying to
that.
see him unnerved, and,
Ye
yeah, that
yeah,
was scary for
yeah.
sure.
It was, yeah,
Um,
I was worried.
yeah, definitely. So I just had 2 canon connections and callbacks in this episode, very small ones. Hologram Janeway talks about Chakotay using remodulated shields to get past the Vonnegut as an old Maquis trick, which we saw a bit in Voyager. They kind of pulled old Maquis tricks out of their sleeves sometimes. And then Jankum says that the temporal variance for the wormhole machine is 47 millicochrans. So we got our 47 in there.
Yeah. Yep. And
No.
of course, Cochrane's being a
Right. Yeah.
measurement from Zephram Cochrane, etcetera,
Yeah.
which
A
we all knew.
warp field something measurement. I can't remember, but yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, that's Ouroboros part 1, and I guess we'll hold on final thoughts and all of that for the end of part 2. So Ouroboros part 2, also written by Kevin and Dan Hageman and Aaron J. Waltke, but directed by Ruolin Lee for this half of it. So yeah, the very beginning, we see Essentia is not dead. She's taken away. She is not resisting. She is not in good shape though. Yeah, she's just basically dragged away. um, Solum starts shaking, and we can see that the loom are coming through the wormhole, and Essentia finally in this moment of clarity, I guess, is like has the "what have I done" moment. It's a little late there, girl. Come on.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, it was interesting how when she became completely powerless was when she actually could critically look at her actions up to this
Mhm.
point and go, "Oh," because absolute power corrupts absolutely, as we know.
Yeah,
So, but when that
absolutely.
power, it literally was taken from her.
No. So watching this episode this time around, it actually struck me as how uh, it struck me that the part of like the resolution to the storyline that's been going on is actually a very small part of the episode
Mm,
before it kind of gets into the denouement and the setting up for future stuff. But the basic gist of that is we have this wormhole, all of the loom are coming through, which means that autopilot won't get the protostar to where it needs to be anymore through the wormhole. So Chakotay and the protostar crew are going to fly it with Voyager following, ready to beam them off as soon as they're able to activate the autopilot and it's safe to do so, kind of thing. Um, And so that's what's going to happen. They're going to fly through the loom. Voyager's kind of fighting them off with the phasers. They don't seem to be doing much except draining all their phaser energy, but I guess they're carving a little path for themselves to get through, kind of thing. The one thing I liked in this is Dow's talking to Wesley about, oh, so this is why we needed to be together for this moment. This is what it all came down to. And Wesley's like, oh, yeah, no. I'm talking about I wasn't talking about now. I'm talking about things yet to come. This is yeah, this is important, but no, it was for the future that I'm talking about. So come on, Netflix people, listen to Wesley. We need season 3.
We really do. We do.
Mm-hmm. Oh, we also have the navigation goes down. So Cetacean Ops has to take over. That was fun. That was really cool.
Jillian saves the day.
Yeah, good old Jillian. And I also loved this this thing when they kind of get through the loom. We see these temporal echoes of the protostar going through the wormhole. It was just really beautiful visual.
Started crying again at that point.
It was really cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, they get through the wormhole, they get through the loom, and they're getting to the point where they have to beam off the ship to let the autopilot take over. And hologram Janeway, who nobody has filled in because I guess they really like suspense. She's pretty upset that she's going to do it because she has to, but she's pretty upset that she's going to lose her memories of all of this. But thankfully, the EMH has this EMH backup module that has enough memory to store hologram Janeway. So she gets an 11th hour reprieve here, which is nice.
Why don't they have those on all ships with holograms?
Okay, I have something to say about this because actually I'll do this early then. This was the one and only canon connection and callback I found, other than the obvious stuff later that we'll just directly talk about. But so the EMH backup module was actually only mentioned in one episode of Star Trek Voyager. That's the episode Living Witness, a really good episode. And that gets left behind on this planet. And that's how the Doctor is there 400 years in the future or whatever it is. Like, that would have been really handy in multiple other episodes of Voyager, a number of which took place before that episode. So you think they would have had it, unless, I don't know. Anytime they like send the Doctor somewhere and they're like, oh, we might be without our Doctor, we better create a new one. And they suck at doing that. If they had this EMH backup module, why? Anyway, so this episode only bringing it up now and only having one kind of continues the tradition of this thing just popping up when it's needed and not ever being mentioned elsewhere. So yeah, I agree. They should have a bunch of these. Like, I don't understand, but
any ship that has an emergency medical hologram, which is pretty much all of them, any ship that has, oh wait, I can't mention that yet. Basically any starship should have this. And any starship in Starfleet should have this, period.
Yeah, absolutely. So I can't remember the exact years, but yeah, 700 years is the final bit of that, right? When he goes, but there was a part in between. I don't know. But anyway, yeah. And it does line up pretty close to where Starfleet Academy and Discovery was there. So yeah, that would be cool. Okay. Yeah, the read-only memory is just so expensive. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, so good news for hologram Janeway. Nice of them to tell her at the last minute. So she's been worrying all this time, but everyone else except hologram Janeway, who resets herself knowing that there's a backup copy of her. Still not her. So I don't know. We can get into like existential philosophy here, but anyway, they all beam back to Voyager. But before they do that, Dal leaves his comm badge for Dal and Rock to find when the protostar lands. So that okay. So that comm badge is the comm badge that they found on the ship, and now it's being left for them to find. So it's this perpetual cycle of
Yep.
this comm badge, which is kind of there's this theory about the eyeglasses in Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan that McCoy gives Kirk for his birthday, and then they end up going back to 1986 and then pawning it in a pawn shop. And there's that one line by Kirk to Spock where Spock says, "Weren't those a gift from Dr. McCoy?" And Kirk says, "And they will be again. That's the beauty of it."
Yeah.
So, like, they've theorized that that's like a perpetual loop as well. So this is kind of maybe a callback to that, but where did it originally come from?
Who knows?
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, those time loops, they break your brain. They break
Yep.
your brain.
Yep.
Our simple human minds simply cannot co we can't fathom the concept of how that's possible and the physics of it. So we just go, "What?"
Mhm.
We just go, "Yeah, okay. Okie
Yeah.
dokie."
If I think about it any harder, my brain's gonna do what Essensius did. Just like
Mhm.
snap, but just gonna fall. And yeah.
Yeah.
Fun stuff though. It's fun to create these things in fiction,
Yes.
break audience brains.
Yep.
Yeah. So yeah, this is where they've set everything in motion. The loom all disappear, and we get that montage of all the events leading up to this. So the protostar on Tars Lamora being discovered by Dal and Rock and assembling their crew and all of this stuff, right up to the present day, and Wesley and Chakotay and stuff. That was really cool. That was it. It did its job in that it really makes me want to go back and watch the whole thing from the beginning again. Uh, which I haven't done since finishing season 2, and I feel like it would really add to the experience of watching season 1 again to know like what all happened to start that chain of events. That's pretty cool.
I bet, and I haven't gone back to watch season 1 yet. Anyway, I do have the Blu-rays.
Mhm.
So but, I also purchased the season on Amazon before it left Paramount Plus.
Yeah.
Also, don't get me started on Paramount Plus. But yeah, I wanna do that as well because I bet that once I do, I'm gonna find even more connections that they make in season 2, and it'll probably make me, love those writers even more for
Yeah.
being able to weave this tale the way that they have. Well, I mean, they had to have had this idea already set up for season 2. They had
Mhm.
to have. They couldn't have just come out with this on the fly. So I'm sure that while they had finished those first episodes, those first 10 and then the next 10, I'm sure they already had season 2 laid out, and it was just a matter of getting it written and starting production.
Mhm.
So, smart, just really smart. It's really you don't see this very much these days. You don't see the care of really interlocking all of these things across so many episodes because, "Oh, it's just too hard." But it's a magnificent thing, and it's again why I think season 2 of Prodigy, well, just Prodigy in general is some of the best Star Trek I've ever seen.
Absolutely agree. 100%. Yeah. It's just this amazing tapestry they've managed to put together. It's really beautiful, and I think it's really special that through all the hardships and stuff we got these 2 seasons.
Yes.
Um, I certainly hope there's more. I'm not I'm not incredibly optimistic about it, but I really, really do hope we get more. Um, but if we don't, they've still crafted something amazing and beautiful and really special. And any if there is no more to come, that is not a comment on the quality of this, because this is some
Agreed.
of the best Star Trek that's ever been made. So
If they don't get more, then that's a commentary on Netflix. So
yeah, yeah, and all the others that have led it to being this kind of situation. So
this is my angry face.
I share it absolutely. So yeah, they have this reception on Solum now that everything's been solved, and I love this meeting between Janeway and Ilthron and the Vonnegut, because we hear that bell ringer. He's still got a job when they shake hands. Boom!
Yay for the bell ringer! You're
Yeah,
still alive, man! You didn't get eaten by the loom.
yeah. My favorite character. We've never met them, but still my favorite character. um So that's lovely, like, nice little tie up here. The future of Solom definitely looks brighter than in that original timeline. And then we get this lovely scene, Beverly Crusher getting this communication from Wesley, and she's so overjoyed that he's contacted her. And she says, "Where are you?" And the communication cuts off, and we hear a noise, and "I'm here, Mom." She's like, "Oh,
Started crying again. Started crying again. Yep.
yeah."
Mhm.
I was pretty close on that one. That was that was really sweet. And then, of course, the tie-in. What I think watching this the first time is be like, "Oh wow, they tied it into Picard." Um, we get Jack Crusher off-screen voice, a very young Jack Crusher meeting Wesley, meeting his brother. And I was like, "Oh, that's nice that they did a little tie into Picard." That's probably all we're gonna see from Star Trek Picard, right? Oh boy.
Nope. Nope.
um, what else we got here? Oh yeah, the doc is like, "Oh, you're finished." And the patient on the bed's like, "Ah, oh, not you, my Holonovel." Oh man,
The doctor.
this poor
Oh.
ensign or whoever is just like, um, but yeah, this now. If you pause and read the holonovel, you can read those 2 pages. I think it was the last page and the first page of it. Um, wasn't anything really worth sharing here. I didn't write anything down, but it's pretty inane.
Yeah.
It's meh. It's not the best writing.
Like it was written by a hologram?
Whoa, whoa.
Sorry, that was
My
terrible.
goodness.
That was terrible. Terrible. No, the doctor is much more than a hologram.
But yeah, no, it's not great writing, by design, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
honestly, it's with the doctor's propensity to exaggerate, I can understand how that would happen.
yeah, and as David said, AI writing is never the best really, so I like that. Um, so, we've got Chakotay is now the captain of Voyager, looking pretty spiffy in that uniform. And Janeway has taken early retirement to the farm in Indiana. Um, and she's very happy. She's not has no desire to go back to Starfleet or anything. And we catch up with our Academy hopefuls, our Protostar crew, taking a class from Dr. Erin McDonald again. It was great to see her. No more Temporal Mechanics 101. It's now Temporal Mechanics 201. So, but she has some help in the class because she has some students who are very versed in it.
Yeah. It's funny, all the people sitting around Dallin just staring at him. Just, oh my gosh.
Yeah, they kind of become their own like living legends a little bit. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Um, so Yeah, we get them on the academy campus, and in the background, I'm trying to like put my mind back to when I was watching this the first time, and I saw on the monitor it said first contact day, and I was like, that's twigging something in my brain. And I'm like, wait, no, they wouldn't do, no, they're not gonna do. And then the alarms start going off, and I'm like, oh my God, they're doing that.
Mhm.
I was not expecting that at all.
Yeah, with the minute I saw the words "first contact" and
Yeah.
all on all the monitors, I'm like, "Oh, no," because then I remembered, "Oh, yeah, Picard was helping with the Romulan evacuation. Oh, this is all the same time! It's all at the
Mhm.
same time!" So, yeah,
Yeah,
uh,
I was like, "Are they doing that?" And yeah, they are.
alright.
Um, yeah, we have the attack on Mars, the 20,000 ships destroyed, the fleet basically wiped out. Janeway gets recalled, and she's obviously like Chakotay goes to pick her up, and she has no desire. And then, of course, when Chakotay tells her what's happened, she's there, right? So I've seen some people comparing her to Picard a little bit, saying, you know, the evacuation was canceled and Picard ended up retiring, but Janeway steps up and takes on the role and comes in and stuff. And like, it's a little bit fair, but at the same time, Picard issued that ultimatum that said basically, you have to continue with this Romulan evacuation, or I'm giving you my resignation. And he honestly thought they would cave, and he couldn't not follow through with that. So
Mhm.
I don't know. Both of them stuck to their convictions in different ways, in my opinion. So
Well, even if he I don't think he made that ultimatum lightly.
no, not at all.
Because even if he ended up having to leave, I think that that was something he was prepared for. He just hoped
Mhm.
he wouldn't have to do it.
Yeah.
But he was yeah, he was willing to stand up for his convictions, and frankly, he was right.
Hmm.
So, Starfleet wasn't, but Starfleet messes up all the time.
Yeah. So yeah, speaking of messing up, exploration missions are all suspended, as is of course the Romulan rescue. Um, and yeah, Starfleet's turning in very insular, protecting itself. And I mean, it's one of those things that like you get it because like I don't I don't have the resource reports in front of me that say like, well, we can't do any of this stuff right now. But yeah, it sucks, it hurts, it's not good.
Yeah, well, it's not just the ships that hurt them, it was the loss of lives, it was the loss of
Mhm.
the engineers and the workers
Yeah.
and, the designers and all of that. It's just and now they're short of engineers. So which is a very, very bad thing because engineers design and build things.
Yeah.
So, you don't have people who can do that, then you're kinda sunk regardless
Yeah.
of what your other assets may be.
Yeah. So, Janeway vociferously objects to this, but she's kind of she's you know overruled basically, and this is kind of how things are going to be going forward. But she does gather the Protostar crew and basically commissions them all to ensigns and gives them this new Protostar class ship, which is named the USS Prodigy, which is really cool. Originally, the whole project was planned to be decommissioned and shelved, but she pulled some strings and got this one ship. And yeah, promotes the groups to all of them to ensigns and gives them the Prodigy. Um, and their mission, I like this, is to seek out allies and lead those left behind. So that's pretty cool. And as Wesley says, you know, their future together, they're going to do something they have to stay together for. And Janeway goes with that and says, somehow, somewhere, you are going to make a great difference. So yeah, something big's on the horizon for them. and I really hope we get to see it.
I really do too. I really, 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 really do.
Yeah. Hologram Janeway is going to be on the ship as the emergency command hologram and an
Where have
advisor.
we heard that before?
So that's
Oh, right.
yeah, that's a tie-in, and they explicitly call it out as such. The Doctor's like, I invented that term. It's like,
Yes.
yeah, okay.
Yeah. To be fair, Rios had a lot of emergency holograms on
Oh,
his
that too,
ship.
yeah. Yeah. The Doctor's predated him by a decade or so, but yeah.
Yeah.
And then yeah, it's got similar to Voyager, it has the two command chairs, the captain and the first officer. And Dal is going to be Gwyn's number one. And I really love the dynamic between the two of them. I think that's going to be pretty cool. I love how far Dal has come, and it just
Amazing.
blows my mind. Yeah.
Yeah, his character development is really, really well done.
I didn't change my name for part 2, did I?
No, you did not.
I'm going to change it right now. There. So yeah, they also have these really spiffy new uniforms that I'm like,
Right.
oh man, there's so many new uniforms. I really like these ones. These are
They
cool.
they are a little busy, but I don't have a problem with that. There's just a
Absolutely.
lot going on in
Yeah.
in in the fabric, and that's not a complaint because sometimes the uniforms are boring. But these,
Yeah.
I'm just like, "You? No, I like this." And Murph's wearing one.
Yes. Finally.
Finally, he's wearing a uniform.
I like that. So welcome, Aaron Harvey. Thanks for popping in to say howdy.
Hi, Aaron.
So I like this. Speaking of trying to bring Prodigy back, another plane up in the air, of course, yeah. And this is cool. I didn't know this. We backed it up with giant chocolate chip cookies sent to the Netflix staff that never made it into the news for some reason. So yeah, let's get Prodigy back. Season 3,
Yes,
come on.
season 3 and season 4 and season 5 and season 6 and season 7. That's what I want. I want at least 7 seasons of Prodigy, please.
That would be
Gimme, gimme,
wonderful.
gimme, gimme, gimme. I want it.
That would be great. Yeah, so that's Gwyn's catchphrase, I guess. Go to warp phrase, let's reach the stars. I'm like, okay, we'll take that. As the USS Prodigy blasts off into proto warp. So the series has now turned into one of those series that has the ship name in the title. It evolved into that. So that's kind of cool.
It did. Well done. Well done.
Wow. So yeah, the Canon connection tie-ins that I mentioned, the EMH backup module, and then of course the emergency command hologram, and then all of the tie-ins to Picard at the end, which I won't go over because they're just baked right into the show. So wow, what a finale. I loved this so much.
Yes, agree.
So Brandi, final thoughts, a rating to these episodes. I don't know, maybe 2 out of 10. Oh, come on. Rating for these episodes, which I'm assuming is going to be extremely high. And then of course that goes for everyone in the comments as well too.
Yeah. And this is the part where I get emotional because I am not ready to let this go.
Oh,
Not
I
ready
know.
to be done talking about this. So it's really, you know, and I knew that this was going to happen yesterday when I rewatched the 2 last episodes, and I'm just like, I'm going to be a mess tomorrow. So,
Oh, I wish I could reach through
um,
thousands of kilometers and give you a hug.
it's okay. It's okay. It's a good emotional, not a bad emotional. So, um, this was perfection as far as a season. It was perfection as far as a season finale. And I like that we get this after everything has been fixed
Mhm.
episode because yeah, they conclude the stuff about the wormhole and everything very early in episode 20, and then you see the aftermath, and that's not something we always get to see in a season finale.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I was so excited for that. I was so excited. Yes! Yes, what is it like now that everything's back to normal? I want to know, and I don't have to wait for the next season for that. I know what they're going to do, but, I love this show so much. So, so
Mhm.
much. It's rapidly becoming my favorite, which is difficult for me to say because I can't be objective, really, when it comes to ranking Star Trek.
Yeah.
So, but this one just, moves me so much emotionally, and I think it's really important to continue the series because it can affect so many people of so many ages, all of the ages. So, anyway, as far as these 2 episodes, I'm gonna give it, one big Jillian saves the day, and for the season overall, it's gonna get a gigantic Dr. Aaron, so
Oh, that's lovely. Yeah, I mean, I can't add a lot to what you said because I agree completely. I feel like I would have if I was a kid when this show was on, like if this had come out in the mid 90s or something, like this would shape my entire sense of being and how much I love all of this in the same way that watching TOS and TNG did at that time. But like this series just is so like tuned directly into my brain that like if I was a younger person watching this, I just can't imagine how much love I would have for this series because I have so much for it in my 40s watching this, and I absolutely love it. Um, I don't even know what to say because it blew any expectations I had out of the water, and my expectations were really high after season 1. So that's really saying something. Um, the characters are so much fun. The addition of Majel, I think, was genius to this group. I love that she's with them on the Prodigy at the end as well, which I didn't mention, but she's with them there too. Um, it's hard to say that this is my favorite Star Trek ever, but it's like it's getting really close if it's not there because folks, I love Deep Space Nine so much. But like, man, this is giving it a run for its money big time. Um I really, really, really want to see more. Uh it's funny. It's only 2 seasons we have of Prodigy, but it's 40 episodes, which is 4/5 of what we got of Discovery. So like it's up there as far as number of episodes, but I don't care. More, please, more. I
mhm.
want to see more. And I love where they've ended this, where they've left this, where it is very open-ended and like it's obvious they have some ideas of what they want this crew to do, and they have something in mind for what these important things they're going to do are. I want to see that realized. And if we have to see it in young adult novels, if we have to see it in comics, okay, I guess. But like this deserves so much more. That's not to say that those are bad things. Those are wonderful things, but they don't get the eyes that a TV show does. Uh, give them a third season. Give them more than that. They're so good. And everyone involved in making this show, from the voice actors to the people behind the scenes to the incredible writers, the incredible animators, the directors, all of them, they deserve more because they've done such a good thing here, and we want more. That's
Yes.
I I give these 2 episodes and all of season 2 the rating of seasons 3 through 7. That's my rating for them.
Excellent, I love that.
So, yeah. That's all I have to say about that. I absolutely love this. It's so much fun. I can't wait to show some friends of mine who I know will love this show that haven't seen it yet. So, yeah.
Excellent.
Oh, I like that too. I rate
Mm.
Prodigy as one big hug. Absolutely. Well, that's a journey that we went on. I'm glad we've been able to kind of extend this conversation a bit past the over 2 months ago now release of season 2. It all dropped on one day. We've done our best to kind of stretch the conversation out and keep it in the cultural mindset for a little bit, and I hope we've contributed some small bit to that. Um, sorry, Tristan with the coupon gym. Oh my god. I love you guys so much. Ah.
I don't even know what to say, TJ. It's just you're out of this world.
Awesome.
That's what I can say.
So yeah, I guess for now, no more Prodigy, but hopefully more in the future. As for the Unready room, we're going to take a little bit of a break, but it's only just a little bit over a month now. We're going to get Star Trek Lower Decks season 5. So, and that's dropping on October 24th. Oh, and my phone is going nuts with. Oh, I have a call from somebody called Suspected Spam. That's cool.
Ooh, better answer that right away.
Yeah, I love those guys.
Mhm.
24th, yes. I could never remember if it was 24th or 26th, but yeah, October 24th. New episode, 2 episodes actually of season 5 dropping that day, which, if all goes according to plan, we should be in the Unready room talking about it on October 26th, which might be why that date was in my mind. Interesting. So yeah, a little bit of a break, just a few weeks, a month and a little bit, and we'll be back in the Unready room. So thank you all so much for joining us. Yeah, if you haven't seen the clip from Lower Decks that they released on Star Trek Day, go check that out. Nice little 10D clip. It's this season's going to be fun. I'm sad that as of right now, it's the final season of Lower Decks. Maybe something will change in that too. That would be awesome. I saw Aaron up here saying, shoot, where is it? Oh yeah, that they wanted to have another plane follow behind the Prodigy one with a banner that said, and Star Trek Lower Decks 2. Yes, that would be wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah, fingers crossed, but I can never tell what the powers that be are thinking because their brains are seemingly only ever focused on profits like the Ferengi.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Yeah. Well, we'll watch season 5 and we'll watch any and all Star Trek that they throw our way, and we hope that there's some particular Star Trek that they continue to throw our way. We'll see. So, thank you all so much for joining us. We'll see you again very soon. So, yeah, all that's left to say, I guess, is go check out Shield Podulation. It's such a good podcast. It's so much fun. You guys just did Star Trek Nemesis.
Yep.
Fun discussion. And Aaron, I'm glad you're in the comments because you guys are tell us what you're doing next on Shield Podulation.
The next random episode that came up is season 1 of TAS, episode 6, The Survivor, which is a
Yay!
densely packed episode, you guys.
That is a lore heavy episode.
It is
Yeah.
dense.
I'm excited. That's awesome. Yeah, so follow Kurtratz Productions. Lots to come in the future. Even though the Star Trek episodes have stopped for a little bit, lots more to come. And we'll see you again here soon. So thank you all for watching. Live long and prosper, and live logs and proper.
And live long and proper and sarcastic Vulcan. So